California to West Africa, coming home at last. Yeah, home at last.
Bonjour YouTube, welcome back to California, West Africa. How's everyone doing today? Alright, so today's talk. Look, if you listen to expat channels on YouTube, everybody tells you the same thing. Move to the Philippines, it's plug and play, it's cheap. Everybody speaks English and you can live like a king on a pension. And hey, I get it. The Philippines is the default option for a lot of Western guys. But today I want to give you an unfiltered, ground level comparison between the Philippines and where I live right here in Cote d'Ivoire. Places like Abidjan, Bingerville, and the Grand Bassam area. This is along the coastline of Cote d'Ivoire. We're talking real weather, real cost of living, visa reality, and the honest truth about relationships. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you why Cote d'Ivoire actually comes out on top for guys who want a real quality of life. The weather and the heat. Let's start with the weather. Because people love to say tropical climates are all the same, they're not. In the Philippines, places like Cebu and Manila, it is 365 days of relentless, oppressive heat. We're talking 85 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to keep everything in Fahrenheit just because I know that you guys aren't used to Celsius. I go by the Celsius now, but for the purposes of the video, let's go with Fahrenheit. Every single day in the Philippines, it is oppressive. And listen, I've said this in other videos, I've never been there, but I have watched enough videos now. And also I had an 11-year relationship with a woman from Pampanga who was a beauty queen from Pampanga. And let me tell you something, that was 11 years of living hell. So I'm a little biased here when I talk about women. But the real killer is the heat index in the Philippines, where 92 degree heat hits 85% humidity, and the spring over there, it feels like 110 to 115 degrees plus. If you think I'm joking, just go find any video or go Google the weather yourself. If you're dealing with up to 20 typhoons a year knocking out your power grids when you need AC the most, then that's the Philippines. Now look, Cote d'Ivoire has the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, the Atlantic Ocean is like a natural air conditioner. Our daytime highs here in Abidjan usually cap out about 89 degrees to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's on the high end. In my assessment over the last 4 years, because I've been here for 4 years now, it is usually landing in between 83 and 85 degrees if you want to do averages year round in my area. But here's the kicker. We get a genuine 3 months break. Right now we're in the July through September cooling off phase. Ocean currents bring cloud cover and breezes, dropping daytime highs to 80 degrees to 83 degrees. You get 90 days to breathe without melting. That alone makes a massive difference in the daily comfort. Now I want to briefly talk about healthcare, only because a good friend of mine recently was diagnosed with cancer. He's 67 years old. It's a mild first stage cancer. His prognosis is good, but it made me think about healthcare. Now I'm going to give it to you straight on this, okay? My channel is almost primarily aimed at guys in their 40s and late 50s who still have their health and want to enjoy life. But you're pushing into late stage 60s and 70s with serious, if you're in your 60s and 70s with serious pre-existing conditions, I'm going to give you a soft warning right now. Moving abroad without a solid healthcare plan is a recipe for disaster. I feel like this doesn't even need to be said, but you know, guys will overestimate their health in a lot of ways. In the Philippines, if you're living in dense urban expat hubs like Manila or Cebu, you're dealing with heavy air pollution, extreme heat index spikes, and a culture surrounded by high sodium street food and processed fast food. If your health is already fading or failing, that environment is going to exacerbate your decline really fast. Now here in Cote d'Ivoire, if you stay out of the noisy commercial zones like I do, in the expat zones, and live somewhere quiet like Benjaville, where I live, you can get a cleaner air quality every day. If you cook home fresh, cook home cooked fresh meals rather than processed street food, I think that's the way to go. As a disabled veteran myself, moving or having reliable health care is essential for me. I'm fortunate because Michelle works for the Ministry of Agriculture, so her job provides our family with a full medical coverage at a modern hospital right here in Benjaville. Now, I don't know how I got this because Michelle and I are not married, but because I'm the father of Bella, they automatically included me on the insurance. I haven't used it yet, but I know it's there if I need it. I guess it just covers spouse. Listen, I can't go into the details about it. All I know is we have it. Now, in Africa, but overall, whether you're in West Africa or Southeast Asia, if you're older and in poor health, you need to think twice before pulling the plug and moving overseas. I highly don't recommend it. Okay, now, I've talked about this before, visa rules. Now let's talk about visas and bureaucracy. In the Philippines, because there are thousands of Western retirees flooding that area, everything is heavily monitored and strictly processed according to the manual. Here in Cote d'Ivoire, you have the written rules on the website which say 90 days, and then you have the unwritten ground reality. If you aren't an idiot, if you show respect, build real human relationships with the guys at the visa office, and navigate things smoothly, you get some breathing room. My first year, I got a 1-year visa stamp. Second year, I got another 1-year visa stamp, just on a tourist visa. By my third year, and after having Bella, because I established a track record and rapport, the official, and not even talking to him, I don't speak French. I want to remind you guys, this is a French-speaking country. I do not speak a lick of French. Yes, I guess a lick I can speak. Bonjour, comment ça va? Comment allez-vous? I can speak niceties and say words, but I cannot have conversations with people. And because I'm fortunate enough that Michelle is a working professional here, she has a good rapport with these other agencies. That might have something to do with it, so I can't say that my case is typical. But by my third year, the guy, without asking for any money, just stamped me 3 years of tourist visa extension. Now, this next year is going to be interesting because I got to renew my passport and I'm going to renew my visa here. I'm sure it's going to go. I'll probably make another video in the future to see how things go, but I'm pretty sure things are going to go pretty good. Famous last words, huh? Okay, so I didn't have to jump through any hoops. There was no extortion. Now, did we tip the guy 5,000 or 10,000 francs CFA? Yeah, about $15. Just gave him as a thank you, just a show of appreciation. That wasn't asked for. But it's, like I said, you just grease a few palms if you want to. And in my case, I didn't have to, but I just did it out of somewhat of a sort of an expectation, but certainly wasn't pressured. Now, next I want to talk about domestic and household help. Now, let's talk about the quality of life and household help, because having live-in support is a huge lifestyle upgrade for expats that nobody factors in correctly. In Cote d'Ivoire, I pay about 60,000 francs, CFA a month. That's roughly about $100 USD. For a full live-in housekeeper who cooks, cleans, does laundry, runs the whole entire household top to bottom. I wouldn't say top to bottom, but generally takes care of Bella. I cook for myself, so I don't really rely on my housekeeper for that, but she does cook Michelle's meals, takes care of Bella around the clock, and really takes some of the strain off of parenting in that regard. It leaves me time to take Bella for walks, spend quality time with her, and teach her English, and I can focus on the macro without stressing over daily chores. Now, look at the Philippines. The legal minimum wage for I think they're called kasambaye, a domestic worker, I'm sorry I butchered that, in Metro Manila is around 7,800 pesos. But in reality, for an experienced live-in helper who cooks and manages a home in expat hubs, Market expectations start around 12,000 to 18,000 pesos a month, which is roughly $300 a month. Now, if anyone wants to correct me in these prices, go right ahead. I appreciate it. I'll make the correction in a later video. On top of that, the Philippine labor rules mandate Social Security, SSS, healthcare, PhilHealth, housing fund contributions, PAG, IBIG, and a 13-month bonus. In Cote d'Ivoire, you get full-time dedicated live-in help doing everything for a fraction of that cost without complex administrative hurdles. Now, how I do this is Michelle is a local woman. She gets the local prices on everything. She has a family in the village. They know people who know somebody. Now, I have had a high turnover rate. In the last 2 years, I've went through probably 5 housekeepers. All excellent, all young, all bright, all wanting to go to school, and we're just here on a temporary basis. They were highly trustworthy. I have not had one issue, except for I did have one overweight housekeeper who was eating me out of house and home. But that's my biggest complaint. Other than that, super good. I've had nothing but good experience. Now, when it comes to money and food, it all depends on how you live. If you stay inside the expat bubble like Zone 4, Abidjan, or Makati, or Manila, you're going to pay top dollar. I live in Benjerville. It's quieter, more private. You get way more space for your money. I pay about $700 in rent with a nice big yard, 3 bedrooms, 4 bath. I keep 1 foot in the expat bubble and 1 foot out. I cook at home a lot. I make a lot of stews. I order fresh white broiler chickens delivered. I buy fresh vegetables at the local markets. Sure, if you want to import American goods like Skippy peanut butter at the expat grocery store, go right ahead. You're going to be paying 3 to 4 times that. Now, I personally have a connection with Pastor Kevin, who is able to, when he brings his missionaries over, he lets me get a little shopping list, and they bring it over in a suitcase, and voila, I have my favorite mixes, taco seasoning mixes from the States, gravies, peanut butters, and things like that I can't really get here at a reasonable cost. And if you have stuff, but otherwise you're going to be paying huge import and tariff fees. Okay, we don't have fast food joints here on every corner like the Philippines, but for fresh, healthy home cooking and quiet compound living, Cote d'Ivoire gives you incredible value without eating toxic street food. Now, this is the topic. This is really what I love talking about because I've had such a colorful experience the last 7 years of traveling and dating lots of women. But because I'm in a relationship with Michelle, I'm going to keep this to a minimum. I've said in other videos jokingly that I have terabytes of interesting videos of beautiful women and dating and things like that, but I don't want to put them on the channel right now because I find that would be disrespectful. Now, but let me just say, now let's address the elephant in the room. Dating and relationships in the Philippines. There's an entire century-old industry built around foreign men, the AFAMS. The hustle over there is high finesse, long game. It's emotional leverage, guilt trips about sick relatives, having to take care of family, typhoon damage, backed by Utang Nanlub, family debt. A lot of guys go over there, get attention from younger women, and they think they've cracked the code and end up funding an entire extended family. Anywhere you go, there you are. If you're a simp in America, you're going to be a simp over in the Philippines. The simp economy is just horrendous. It's horrible. Do not ever lead with your fucking wallet. Okay, that's my most stern warning. In Cote d'Ivoire, there is no American retiree trap. Sure, there are local women here that will try the gold digging. Yes, there's an abundance of them everywhere in the world. It's direct, blunt, and unrefined. They're horrible at it. African women, in my experience, and I have experience in Lagos and Cote d'Ivoire of West Africa, and I have vast experience with women in my life, I can tell you that seeing a gold digger or someone who just wants to use you for your money in Africa, it is so freaking obvious right off the bat that, matter of fact, I recently did a video where I was trying to trap a would-be scammer, but because Even though I tried to bait this scammer, I wasn't able to get her to ask me for money because she was so terrible at it. She called me randomly on WhatsApp. I did a whole video on her, and then we talked a few times. She did tell me she wanted to go to school. She was hinting around, but she had no finesse whatsoever, and she gave up. Just talking intelligently without offering any money, these gold diggers here in Africa will weed themselves out very quickly. Now, more importantly, it comes down to class and standards. My girlfriend Michelle holds a doctorate, speaks 4 languages, and earns her own living. Okay, so I got lucky in that regard. Even though she's a builder girl, she takes care of her family out of her own paycheck. Now, she doesn't fully support her family, and she has older brothers and sisters that also contribute to her retiree father, who was a good man, a retired school teacher, and has never once pressured me for any type of money. Now, when you date an educated, self-sufficient woman like that, there is zero pressure on you to play the pension savior. And let's talk about physical aesthetics, okay? Honestly, Asian women are heavily marketed in Western media as petite, delicate, which appeals to a lot of older guys. But if you appreciate natural curves, voluptuousness, and hourglass physiques, West African women, this is what I'm passionate about. African women, I've been on year 4, I can tell you, man, African women are where it's at. Physically. They have much better bodies than Filipino women. I think now, African women can present a little more masculine. A lot of them can be a little bit bigger. It depends on if you like fat women, sure, there's plenty of them here. But if you want to talk about just pure curves, hips to waist and breast ratio, my God. You can really have your pick of women over here as a white foreigner. I'm telling you right now. Objectively, some of the best body structures on the planet here in Cote d'Ivoire. It's just and listen, I've been to Asia. I've been to parts of South America. I've been to Europe. I've been to now Africa. I'm telling you, African women are number 1 for me. Now, once you get past the initial Western media biases and adjust for the local environment, you realize that the beauty and the presence here is unmatched, in my opinion. Plus, when we walk into a store in Abidjan, we get treated with normal, dignified respect, not categorized into some tier-based pensioner and his bar girl type of looks. Cliche. There is no age gap discrimination here. Nobody looks at a white foreigner here with a black African woman and think, oh, she's just using him for his money. I guess you could, if you're looking at these videos from the States, you might come to that conclusion. But because they don't have as much contact with American foreigners, they just don't have game over here. In my experience, in my limited African experience. Now, Africa's big, I know. I didn't go to South Africa, I didn't go to Kenya, but I'm telling you, the gold diggers and the scammers here are easy to detect. So anyway, if you want a prepackaged plug and play assembly line with everything, and everyone speaks English, and you're treated like an AFAM, a cash machine in 95-degree oppressive heat in the Philippines, go right ahead. Go right ahead. Go over to the Philippines if you want to. But if you want a real weather relief environment, flexible visa, breathing room, dignified social dynamics, amazing food. I put that in the script, but I cook my own food. I really don't find African food appetizing. But anyway, and a partner-based and mutual respect rather than a transactional one, Cote d'Ivoire takes the crown hands down. I honestly believe that. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Au revoir.